So I went through a lot back in the day. Damn, I sound old. But seriously, I went through a lot. Granted, most of it was my fault. Around 95% to be exact. It was still a good experience though. So without further ado, I share with you what I went through. Bars. Number one, you're not always right. I remember hitting 18 and said I was grown. 21 came around, I was pretty much an old head. Now, depending on where you come from, there's some truth to that. But in my 20s, I was really arrogant and subconscious all at the same time. Mostly I was just following the opinions of other people and supposed guidelines as to how I was supposed to live my life, instead of just venturing out and exploring the world as I see fit, which really wasn't the world because I really couldn't afford to travel. So I was just like a small fish in a pond and I thought it was the ocean. The world isn't like that, by the way. And I would get so frustrated every time I figured it out because I thought I knew it all. Don't pretend to have the answers, learn them. Number two, fuck love. I may sound bitter. I'm a little bitter, just a little bitter. Nah, seriously though, I see many of my friends form relationships that blossom into marriage, which is a beautiful thing. And I've seen the opposite a good number of times actually. But I think that's because the idea of love is more infatuated than the never-ending work for it. And why I just did a peace sign. Now that I'm older, I can say I've actually loved a lot, but only been in love and tried to really fight for it about 3 times. And it probably would have bear some fruit, at least on my end, had I known how to voice myself better when I was in those relationships. I'm not saying don't take relationships lightly, but if you're gonna have, whether it's platonic or romantic, just make sure the feeling is mutual and you constantly work at it. If not, at least you can have a civilized split and go your separate ways. Love does not conquer all, communication does. Telephone taught me that. Number 3, slow down. We set these milestones for our lives, which is nothing wrong with that, but our lives are forever changing, with or without our knowledge. You can plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather. Love that song, by the way. Hated the chorus, obvious reasons. Even though most of our lives are a direct result of our decisions, sometimes life happens, whether that's an illness or just some unforeseen event that just causes you to get off track. From my experience, everything happens for a reason, so just roll with it. Don't get frustrated trying to sprint in a race that's really a marathon. You'll be ready when you're ready. As usual, if you have any suggestions or tips you want to share, feel free to do so in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so I don't end up in the second place. Overall, youth itself is the wild, wild west. Everybody is scrambling around, trying to figure this thing called life out, and it's a never-ending journey. You just get better at direction as you get older. If there's anything I could change in my 20s, I wouldn't. Those lessons made me who I am today, regardless if they were pleasant or not. So yeah. As a wise man once said, believe in yourself and create your own destiny. Don't fear failure. I miss those shows. Until next time, always remember, simple does it.